Yeah, hello everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear the other side. My name is Joseph. I am a Microsoft MVP and MCT, and today we're going to be looking at empowering administrators in terms of Microsoft Copilot. So, Copilot is a wonderful tool, and I want to believe is a talk of the town as of today, and obtaining the license require that you maximize the usage, especially when you have pilot users, and you want to make sure that you see everything that Copilot can do before you proceed with the purchase. And just in case you buy for or you obtain license for a few of your users, you want to make sure that all of them, utilize it to the maximum. So how do you even equip your administrators to see that they can use Copilot effectively? And that's the essence of today's training or conversation. So let us get started by going into the admin center right away. So first off, I want to bring up a tenant here on this screen where I do not have Copilot license. So if I do cmd.ms, of course, that's going to be taking us to the admin center. But this time, this tenant that I'm opening does not have the Copilot license assigned, purchased. So there is no presence of Copilot license in there. So I'm going to be picking this account. So I'm very sure that I do not have Copilots. So what I want us to do now is to see the difference between a tenant where you have Copilots and a tenant where you do not have Copilot licenses. So if I click on here to show all and I look through this trail, I am not going to see Copilot here, right? But if I come to a tenant that I have the Copilot license, I'm just going to look at this tenant here and I'm bringing up on the screen now. You would find out something that you would see Copilots just up above the users, right? So just before the users, after home, then you're going to have Copilots. But for this, you just have devices, and after home is users, after users devices. This is a tenant that does not have the Copilot license inside of it. I mean, if you go to my or your product something, you will not see anything relating to Copilot. Therefore, you do not have the Copilot icon showing up here for you. But this is not my area of concentration today. My area of concentration is going to be on the tenants where I have Copilot license available, and I want to see how we can prepare administrators to make sure that they effectively understand how to go about the usage of Copilot in all the services that users will make use of, how they can actually keep track of what is coming, what is available, where they can go for trainings about Copilot coming directly from Microsoft so that they can effectively and judiciously use Copilot without missing any of the offers that come with this load or this workload. So coming here, I will click on Copilot. So if I click on this place, let's say that yes, I have Copilot now. Let's say in your own tenant as an administrator, you also have Copilot. But instead of you to just look away and say users should be able to use these, there are some basic settings that you may want to implement just to make sure that everything that is within your environment, you can first keep track of it to know who is using it and who is not using it. You look at the reporting side of a Copilot, and then you come back to see, okay, how you can make the user experience improve, right? So how you can improve the user experience for your users, and then how you as an administrator can discover the loads that Copilot has and how you could improve Copilot usage in your environment, and you also keeping track of what is to come. So if you click on this, then you come to where you see Copilot, you manage everything relating to Copilot, view insight about how people are using and learning about Copilot, then use assign licenses to find trainings, how to change settings, and more will come under overview. Okay, so in terms of reporting, this is going to be telling you um, adoption by application. So what this means is that how well do your user make use of Copilot in the different M365 workload, right? So coming to this place, you have adoption status of M365 Copilot over the last 30 days. So this is the metrics. And then if you look at this is speaking to active users who are making use of it. So enabled users are the ones in, will I call this green? And then the active users is the one, this is looking like a purple sign, right? So that means that I have 9 users in my environment, but I have only given, only 3 users are actively using Copilots at the moment. So the active users of Copilot here are 3, right? And then coming to this place also, that is in Microsoft Teams, what specifically we have 2 users that are making use of Copilot at the moment. So what means that you have assigned this license to the users, but just 2 of them are making use of Copilot in Teams. And then for Microsoft Word, yes, I have 9 users active or enabled user for for Copilot, but only one is making use of it, and so on in PowerPoint 1%. But as we dig deep, we would see which or who those users are for the last 30 days. So if you scroll down here, you will find out that okay, Copilot license, then select product to assign. Then you see the Copilot license. I have 25, of which I have assigned 10 to people so far, and I have 15 active licenses left. So what this means actually, to relate this to this, means that yes, we have 10 people with Copilot license, and then we only have 3 people that are making use of the application there, and then just so on. So this is giving me information about how well they are making use of it. So here is where you can manage your license. But the very point about empowerment that I spoke about in this topic is about the resources that you need as an administrator to go learn about the Microsoft Copilot and see how you can judiciously and effectively make use of the product. So now is the Copilot Lab. So you're going to learn how to turn a good prompt into a great one. Save your favorite and then get inspired to work in a whole day. So this is something that you want to check out. And then also is documentation for IT administrators. So this is actually the Copilot Lab. It's going to be available on the web, like everyone could actually, from prompts in Excel, in PowerPoint, or even in Word, or in the general Microsoft Copilot chat, you could actually navigate to seeing the prompt gallery, which is the Copilot Lab. Also, you can also see the documentation for IT. So this is actually a curative source of training for IT administrators about how to prepare and manage Copilot. So this becomes very important, right? That you should be aware of. So what are inside of here? So while it loads, I'll just come back here, and then you see Microsoft Copilot to, commitment to responsible AI. So for example, if you have questions that you want to present to, respond to from maybe your compliance team about Copilot, and this speaking to the responsible AI, you should be able to learn about it from here by clicking on that. So what is the next topic that is available for you to see in that admin center? You have the Copilot Adoption Hub. So this is saying to drive Copilot adoption with a variety of contents that include workload planning, and then checklist, and then the curated content. What about the Copilot roadmap? This is very, very important, because with the roadmap, you're going to get the latest update about what is coming soon to Copilots, you know, in various Microsoft products. So this is like a go-to link for all administrators. We're still going to be looking at them one after the other. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is where you can actually get like, you can be on track, well on time to know what is coming, and you can be anticipating and keeping track of how and when it is going to come. So the connect Copilot to your favorite tool, how to connect them. You can also see this. So why, I mean, where are you seeing all of this and why are you seeing them? This is because you have the Copilot license already, and the product wants you to be able to effectively and efficiently make use of the product, and that's why you're having it here showing up. So the next thing you want to do is to, maybe we want to do right now, is to come to the first one here, which speaks to the roadmap, right? So from here you can actually track like everything that you would like to know about what is coming up on Copilot. So this is the Microsoft roadmap and the things that you are expecting, right? So you can read through. It's actually a very, very informative site where you can see rollout. You can see in development, the second stage is rolling out, and then the third stage here is about the launch. So apart from learning about Copilot only, this itself is actually a very useful tool. I mean, site where you could also keep track of applications that are coming up in terms of other workloads in Microsoft 365, and so short Microsoft entirely. Because if you look at this, it's speaking about universal print, mobile print on Android phones, and then Outlook support for Apple script on this. So if you want to find details about this, you can see the feature they added to the roadmap on this date, and then last modified was this, and product is about this, and all of this. So this is actually a very important site that an administrator wants to keep, just to keep track of what is coming. So this is the Microsoft roadmap. So having spoken about that, is the responsible AI, the principle of responsible AI. So this will speak to you about the Microsoft Responsible AI standard. You can read about the transparency and transparency, inclusiveness, and all of the other principles of responsible AI that you can find out here about Copilot. And then the other point here is the learning environment. For me, this is a mind-blowing site where you want to go and read about a lot of things as an administrator. So for M365 Copilot documentation, so this particular place is like a one-stop environment that you want to come check all you need to learn, so that you can also explain to your users or respond to audit questions and all of that. So what is here? How does Microsoft 365 Copilot works? Introduction to Microsoft 365 Copilot. So you can dive deep into this to have an introduction about it. What about the architecture and the illustrations? So you may want to check here out also to see how the architecture of Copilot looks. And then what about the mechanics? The Microsoft 365 Copilot playlist. You can you can just simply right click, and then you would go through all of this for your own study. And for me, this is a place to go to just to empower yourself as an administrator. So what about the onboard and engage, how to set up and assign M365 Copilot license to users, how Microsoft 365 Copilot setup guide on setting up the cloud on Microsoft, then best practices and tools for employee engagement, then Microsoft Copilot scenario library. So all these are areas where you want to check out. And then also you have the Microsoft Scenario Library. We open that Microsoft Prompt Gallery for recommended prompts and tutorials. So you can look at this Microsoft Copilot overview, like we just said. So this is going to give you like a general understanding about how Copilot and what Copilot is looking at it from this point. Microsoft 365 Copilot overview. So this is actually the Microsoft Learn that you can generally available, but of course from the M365 Admin Center, all of these were integrated so that you can know where to dive, to dive into and understand how these things work. So this is the overview of Copilots, provide real-time intelligence and engage users to complete tasks and more efficiently. So looking at that, coming down to Copilot work with M365 apps, with graph and the large language models, and then come to talk about the Copilot features in M365 application, how it works in Word, how it works on PowerPoint, how it works on Excel, how it works on Outlook and Teams, and then in OneNote and in Forms. All right, so these are important things that administrator want to check out. So what about the Microsoft 365 services that help support Copilot? You can look at the SharePoint side, the research SharePoint search, and then the Microsoft Purview and all of that. Apart from that, you also see related content that you want to also check out as an administrator. So coming back to the coming back to this, you also see how Microsoft protect your data. So this is very important that you also look at it, right? So if you open this, you find details more about this, how it protects your organization data. This is very important that we mention this because if you have to respond to questions from your internal or external auditors around how your data is being managed, right? So the data privacy and security for Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can actually look at it. Look at one, how does M365 Copilot use your proprietary organizational data? So you can understand from these points as an administrator and know how and what to do about all these things. Data stored about user interaction with M365 Copilot, then deleting the history of user interaction with Copilot. This is very important, right? So your users can delete their Copilot activity history, which include their prompts and their response Copilot return by going to my account portal, this URL here. For more information, of course, we can look at this. So all these are actually things that you want to look at. What about Microsoft 365 Copilot data protection and auditing architecture? So I was talking about auditing, right? So how do you look at all these? These are actually great things that you want to just sit down as an administrator and see how you can check out all of these just to get yourself prepared. But the good thing about this is that you do not need to have the Copilot license in your environment before you can, go on to do this research that I'm showing you now. Because while you are trying to adopt Copilot, you can just go to Microsoft Learn and then you look at this document. But if you need links to this, of course, just chat me up on LinkedIn here, or you can drop a comment on my YouTube, and I'll be very happy to copy all of these links and share with you because I see there is a need for us to have this understanding and how all these things work. You that is planning to adopt Copilot, or you that is already making use of Copilot, but maybe does not really have like a deep understanding on how data is being handled and how the responsible AI plays with the Copilot, right? So speaking about the fairness, the reliability, privacy, inclusiveness, transparency, accountability, how is this responsible AI principle, in line with your Microsoft Copilot? So you may want to check this out as well. So I think I have gone out of the admin center for a while, and that's fine, right? So now getting ready for Microsoft Copilot E3 implementation guide, and if you are using E5, then the license options that you have for Copilot. I think that is it's a very important topic, especially for those that are planning to start using Copilot. So licensing is very, very important, and there are things here that you have to know. So for business and enterprises, before you can use Copilot, of course, you need a base license before you have Copilot as an add-on to your base license, right? So checking this out, you see that Microsoft 365 application for service, that's app for business, apps for enterprise and apps for business can use, you can have that as the base license, which you want to add Copilot to. Then Microsoft 365 Business Standard, Business Premium, and then Microsoft 365 Business Basic, F3, F1, and all of these, right? So now these are Microsoft 365 Copilot is available on as an add-on with one of the following licenses requirement. So I'm happy to see this because the last time I checked, Business Basic wasn't there, and I'm just thinking aloud that this is likely an update on this document. So like looking at this was in November 19 that this was last written, and I'm happy to see that Business Basic is here. So it means if you have Business Basic, of course, you can also go for Copilot add-on. Then Office 365 plans, you can have E5, E3, and E1, and then it will work for you. Then for Microsoft Teams Plan, Microsoft Teams Essential, Microsoft Teams Enterprise, and all of this. So you need to first of all have this as a base license, and then you can have Copilot as an add-on license that you can use to automate most of your activities that you do, like in emails, so this is actually speaking to where you as an administrator can go to learn about what you need before you can adopt Copilot. Now, looking at the Microsoft 365 Copilot optimization assessment. So this is again very, very important for an admin to also go and check out and see what is required of him. So, and if you check also extend optimization, deliver impact, then onboard engagement, all of these, this link is definitely going to be very useful. So I want to drop it here on the comment section. So if you see it, you can react, because I'm still trying to understand how to interact with my audience using link from Copilot, I mean from StreamYard. So if you get this link, of course, you can react. If you do not, of course, and you need this link, you can request for it. I'll be happy to quickly share with you on any of the channels from which you reach out to me. Okay, so having said that, we will just quickly close out on the Microsoft Learn documents that we have opened, while we concentrate on the admin center, where we want to truly dive deep into some basic information about the Copilot. So I'll come back to click on Copilot again from this place, and if I click on Copilot, so excuse me, I just had it black out. All right, so good. So if I click on Copilot again, then I will have all these details that I have here. So the next thing I want to do is to come to, I've looked at reporting, right? And so the next thing I want to do is discover. So what is in discover? So create PowerPoint prompts in your most used Microsoft 365 app, or get going fast with Microsoft Copilot. So as an administrator, you can discover a lot of things from here. Again, these are more resources, documentation for administrators, and then Microsoft commitment to responsible AI, which are the areas that we have looked at just a while ago. But the very important point that we now need to continue from is the part of settings. Is a part of settings here that I'm just expecting to open now. Okay, so looking at the part of these settings here, there are a lot of things that I really want us to look at here, and one of it is the Copilot diagnostic tool. This actually helps you to send diagnostic log for Copilots on behalf of individual users who are having issues. So as an administrator, with from here you can actually send logs out. So what is this going to help you do? When users have an issue um, and are not able to send feedback and diagnostic log to Microsoft, you can submit a verbose log on their behalf. The data will include prompts and generated response, relevant content, sample, and adopting an additional log files. So you can actually do, what it means is that you can take, you see me click on start, and then come into here, search, and select the user you want to submit log for. So what it means is that, for example, if I have a user here on my list that has the Copilot license, and then number of recent Copilot conversation to include logs in max of 30 days, I can decide to add that, and what dates are the range of the reports, I mean the feedback that I want to provide on behalf of this user to Microsoft, and I can actually do that and report on behalf of this user. So what this means is that if this user has an issue, and yes, you are aware of it, you can give feedback to Microsoft on the user's behalf, and you will, so no data is in the diagnostic log. And so this is just because this is a test environment and I've not really done that, but you can So what this is trying to say is you can truly, add data and feedback on behalf of users. So I'll just say no to this. I mean, I'll just close out on this for now. So we are moving on to Copilot in Bing and in Edge. Of course, this is something that even on free version, one of my live demo last week, I was able to explain how to use Copilot on the free application, and I mean on the free Edge browser, and that's so super that you want to check out, right? Because you are not paying for Edge to use Edge, and it can do a lot of beautiful things that you want to check out yourself. What about Copilot in Power Platform and Dynamics 365? So you can manage more settings relating to Copilot and agents in Power Platform and Dynamics 365. But one thing that is very important to me here to mention is the Copilot in Teams. This is so obvious that if you have Teams, right, and then you give Copilot license to users, there is to optimize the Copilot usage in Teams. I see that one of the most important things that you can do is to um, enable transcription for those users, because if you do not enable transcription, there are a lot of wonderful Teams activities that you're actually depriving the users from making use of, and that is the AI generated notes. Okay, so if I click on Copilot now for Teams, so if I click on here for Teams, so what is going to happen is it's going to be taking me to the Teams admin center, not just taking me to the Teams admin center, but it will be taking me to meeting policy, and it will be showing me where I should toggle on or off the meeting transcription, because Copilot works with the AI that generates. Of course, I need to authenticate, right? Just give me a second, and that is number 15, and then I'll do this. So this is just getting me in, so I will say yes. So Copilot in Teams is just wonderful, beautiful, that I may also show you the end user's experience as well. So this is just being playful. It's looping twice. So I'll just quickly put 11. Okay, so that should allow me get in now. Come on, be nice. Okay, so I am into the Teams admin center, and if you see from where I am coming from directly, you can see that it is hovering down, because where it wants me to check is the transcription part of it. I don't see the reason. I don't see the reason why transcription is to be, turned off on the meeting policy for users. Of course, there can be maybe a compliance requirement or something. But I must mention here that even if the transcription is turned on and then the users do not record their meetings, they will still not have the AI generated notes. So I'm just going to do teams.microsoft.com. Quickly, and then if I do that, I'll come back to this button to be on for the AI generated notes to work on Teams. So another point where you can also look at transcription is on the calling policy, right? So if you come to voice and then you come to calling policies as well, you would notice that there are policies that come. Let's say I check the global policy, then cloud recording for cloud recording for calling, it's turned off. So the difference between this transcription here and the transcription in meeting policy is that the transcription here is speaking to the transcription on a one-on-one calling. So if you are making call on a one-on-one, then you want users to be able to record their one-on-one call, then you want to turn this on. And then if you want to enable transcription for a one-on-one call, then you want to turn on this one as well. So at this point, transcription is enabled for the users. But then let's say instances where you want to try to have some pilot users, for Microsoft Copilot, and then you want to create a calling policy, custom calling policy, and um, custom meeting policy to enable transcription, you can actually do that, because if this what I'm toggling on right now is on the global policy, but I can decide to go create a custom policy, and then I'm going to call it Copilot pilot users, right? So if I want to do it, I can just come here, discard the settings in my my global org-wide defaults policy, and I'm going to hit on add. So when I hit on add, I just want to call this Copilot pilot users. So if I'm going to do this, right, for this is calling policy. So I want to talk. So in my global policy, the transcription, the recording is turned off in the calling policy, which speaks to one-on-one call, right? And then I'm creating a custom policy, and this policy is calling policy that is going to be meant for the pilot user. So what I mean is Copilot, like the introductory users in the organization who are going to like test things around it. So I want to turn on the cloud recording for them, and I will also turn on the transcription option for them, and I will save. So what this means is that I have a policy this time, and the policy is Copilot pilot users. So what I would do is if so the first thing is I would have created um okay, so if I open this policy, for example, or I even click on edit policy, okay, let me just go from here and look at it. Okay, this is still in place. Excuse me, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to look at this from this point, and I'll go to manage users. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Then if I come to assign users, and then I'm going to bring up those users here. So, but where I'm even interested in looking for is where I can assign the policy to a group, and this is what I meant, you know. So I would have created a group, a security group from the Entra Admin Center, and put those users there. And then I come here to create the policy. So, but before I do that, let me first of all create a meeting policy where I am going to enable transcription and recording for the users. So let me take a summary of it. I'm creating calling policy for Copilot pilot users. That is on a one-on-one call, calling, recording, and transcription. And I'm also now doing a custom policy for meeting policy, where I am going to turn on transcription, and then I'm also going to enable recording. Okay, so now coming to meetings here, I'll go to meeting policies. So if I come to meeting policies, the next thing I want to do is to click on add. So if I come to add, so I want to also call this one Copilot pilot users. So if I do Copilot pilot users, and I'm just scrolling down to recording and transcription, so I'm going to come here and I'm toggling on the meeting recording, which is on, right? Record transcription here, require participant agreement, nope. So I'm coming to transcription, and this should be toggled on. So I will tell you the advantage of toggling this on in a bit. So I want to click on save. So if I click on save now, what's going to happen is that I have two policies. One policy is for one-on-one calling. The second policy is for the meeting policy, right? So I want to come to this place, and I will do cmd.ms. So if I do cmd.ms, so what I want to do is to go to the Entra Admin Center. And what do I want to do at the Entra Admin Center? I want to create a group for those users who will be co-pilots, who Copilot to be assigned to from the Entra Admin Center. And this time I'm creating a security group, and the security group is going to have dynamic membership. Okay, so dynamic membership in the sense that I am not going to be adding a user to that group, but I'm going to create the group, and I will use an attribute to make sure that the users are going into that place. Let's say I have attribute of that user should be the attribute of the user should be department, and that department should be innovation. So I'm just going to look at this, and I'll say all users. So quickly, I'm just going to create a user now, and I'll just quickly call the user, create a new user, and I'm going to call the user John Doe. That is John. That is John. Let me just leave it at John at my domain. Then the display name is going to be John Doe. So if this is the case, then the next thing I want to do is to come to the properties of this user, and then I just want to call the department of the user innovation. Innovation. This is just the department of the user because I want them to explore the Copilot license, right? So I have a lot of these users in imagination. Then I'll just hit on create. Then I don't need to have anything about the password. I'm just hitting on create, and this user is created already. So the next thing I want to do for these pilot users is to come to group, and I want to come to all groups, so that I want to create a group and I want to call it Copilot pilot users. So I'm just going to hit on new, and then I'm going to be calling it, it's a security group, of course, and then the name is just Copilots, and then hyphen pilot users, and then fine. Then the next thing I want to do is I don't want it to be assigned, I want it to be dynamic users, right? So what is my dynamic query? What it means is that what attributes do I want to for the users to have so that this user can get added to this environment. So I'm going to do department, and then when I do department, I want to do department equals to, then I want to do innovation. So that is what I want to have. So users department equal to innovation, the user should see himself in this group, right? So the next thing I want to do is to just hit on save, right? So this time you would discover that I am not adding any user to this particular environment. But what am I doing? I have created a group, but I have not added anybody. So if I come here and I go to search for co-pilots, pilot users, and I come to this place, right? And then I want to do members. So what I will expect is that user should be here in any time soon. But the next thing I want to do is the user is not yet around, right? Because it's taking time to identify the user per the department and then pull the user into this group. But if I want to even check if John would even be able to be in this group, what I want to do is to just come to dynamic query, right? I'll just validate if that user can be there. So I'm coming to search for dynamic rules, right? So the rule is saying that the user is in innovation. Okay, so there's something I'm just here, a validate rule. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to add user now, and I'm going to check if John Doe is going to be in this group. John Doe, even before the user comes. So if I click on John Doe here and I click on select, and then what is going to happen is, let's see, it's saying John Doe is not going to get here. The reason is because of what? Department equals to innovation, user.department is equal to innovation, but John Doe is in innovation. Can we verify that again by coming to users, all users? Because I remember that we set the location, I mean the department of John Doe to be innovation. So that's just taking some time. Come on. Come on, be nice. Okay, so let's check John Doe here. Let's just check the user attributes. What is John Doe's department? Let's click on edit properties, and then let's see John Doe's department, job information, job title. Oh yeah, we put it at job title instead of department. So this is also a way you can know when you are making mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to save now, and we are going back to that group to validate if John Doe can be in that group now. So if I come to groups, excuse me, I'm coming to groups, not group, not John Doe, all groups. Then we're going to be looking for innovation. No, we're going to be looking for Copilot pilot users. Don't get it confused. So we're going to click on this. So if we come to Copilot pilot users and then we go to the dynamic membership rule, which is department is innovation. Members now, let's check. So John Doe is here because his department is now innovation, which is fine. So the next thing we want to do is to come to the M365 admin center where we can give the Copilot license to that group so that whoever we add to the group is automatically going to inherit the Copilot license. So we're just going to do show all, and then we come to licenses, we'll come to billings, and then we'll come to licenses, and then let's see how we can do that from here. Just give me a second. Let me plug this in. All right, so we have Copilot license here. I still have 15 of them. Apologies for that break in transmission. So I was in my Copilot license and I wanted to assign that to a group, and I want to assign it to assign license to Copilot pilot users. So I'm just going to hit on this and then I will click on assign. So what this means is whichever user I add to this group is going to automatically pick up the Copilot license. So this is us creating a user, making the user dynamic, and then creating a user, creating a dynamic group, dynamic security group, and have the dynamic security group licensed with Copilot, and then coming down to the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, we want to assign the calling policy as well as the meeting policy to the group that we just created. So coming back to Teams Admin Center, so we're going to now come to Copilot pilot users meeting policy, and then clicking on here, we go to group assignments or group policy assignments, and then the next thing we want to do is to assign this policy to the pilot users that we want to give the Copilot to. So here we can say Copilots, pilot users, and what is the rank, the priority that we are giving to that. We may just leave it as one, right? So what policy do we want to assign to this? We want to give them this policy, and then we click on apply and we click on confirm, right? So that is for the meeting policy. So we'll do the same thing for calling policy before we go to the other part of our demo. So we'll go to the other part of calling policy is under voice. So if we come to voice and then we come to calling policy, where are you? And then if we click on this also, we are going to click on group policy assignments, and then if we come to group policy assignments, we click on add, and then this time also we come to Copilot pilot users. So add, and then we click on, we come to Copilot pilot users, and then the next thing we do is to click on apply and then apply here as well. So at this point, what happened now is we have assigned those policies to these users just so they can always have the option to turn on recording and transcription when they are on a one-on-one call or when they are on a group call. Now, having looked at that, so the next thing we want to see is how is recording and transcription available in Teams. So if you have a Teams meeting, for example, this meeting here, recording is ready. So if you come to view recap, then you always see AI notes. But in terms of meeting that do not have, recording, that were not recorded, or recording was not enabled for the users, then it means that they will not have the AI generated notes. So I wanted this AI notes to come before we move on to the next item that is speaking more about reporting before we go on. So now looking at this, you will see AI notes, meeting notes, and all of those. This is generated because transcription is enabled for my users. So if you do not enable transcription, then the users will not be able to see the AI notes. Or if you enable transcription and recording and the users choose not to enable transcription, like in this case, transcription was enabled and all of that, but these users choose not to record the call, or turn on transcription, and you can see the effect of that. The get AI powered meeting note, turn on transcription, and AI can generate notes and suggest tasks to follow up on. So this is me saying that as an administrator, you need to understand that turning on recording and transcription for you, at least transcription on for users, even if recording is not compulsory, but transcription has to be on for your users to be able to see the AI notes in Microsoft Teams if they have the Copilot license assigned to them. So enough of jumping from admin center to admin center. We're now going to be concentrating on the Teams Admin Center from now to the end of our call. On the M365 Admin Center from now to the end of our call. And what we want to look at in that way is majorly about the reporting. Of course, we can talk about the self-service licensing here, Copilot Teams meeting, and then we have a very important point here to raise, and that is Microsoft 365 Copilot Self-Service purchase. So if you click on this, you can decide to control it to allow users to be able to buy Copilot license without consulting the administrator, or you can also decide to say no, you want to toggle it off, that the users must be assigned by the admin before they can have Copilot. So what is this saying? It's saying Microsoft 365 Copilot Self-Service purchase gives users the flexibility to acquire this product without the administrator's help, that this can help admin understand and manage the demand. So now, do you want to allow users to buy their product on their own? So by default, it is saying yes, that your users can go ahead and buy the Copilot license. So if a user is not within the pilot users and feel that he needs Copilot and want to buy it by himself without contacting the administrator, if this is left here, then the user can go ahead and get the license. However, if you want it to be that no self-service purchase are allowed for this product, but in some cases free trial might still be available, and then users might be able to request a paid license from an administrator. So if you do this, what it means is that if there is free trial available in the license, users can still do free trial. But when it has to do with them paying for the license, then they must reach out to the administrator. So I feel this is very important, right? I feel this is very important for you to take note of, because I have an experience where a user was, having a conversation with me to ask how we can possibly purchase the Copilot license by himself and use it to work, since the organization was not ready to be like a phase where Copilot license is available for everyone, right? So if you check this, do not allow, or you can allow, like in the situation I'm trying to tell you, allow would work, because by default, Microsoft even allows that. So the point I want us to go to look at deeply is in terms of the reporting. So if you come to reporting, and you come to usage reports, you can actually dig deeper as an administrator into how Copilot, or how much Copilot is adopted in your environment, right? So if you look at this, you look at Microsoft Copilot. So earlier in this session, we are looking at 2 users were using Teams, 3 users were using Word, and all of that. Who are these users? So if you come here, you would see that I have the name of the users that are showing me when these users have used this. Like it's telling me that Timio has Copilot license. Yes. User eligible updates this, and then checking user Teams chats. Was it used in Outlook? Did they use it? And in all of that. So you can see that this guy used it, has Copilot license, he has it, he uses this in Teams meeting, he uses in Team chats, and then that's all right. He did not use it in Outlook and all of the other applications. So this is, if I come to use it, for example, this will give me like more details about what is happening. So this is now telling me that this person had used Copilot on November 27th, right? And then where did they, then the last activity date of Teams Copilot, the last time this person used Teams in Copilot was November 27th. And then last activity in Word, he has not used it in Word. Last activity in Copilot, he has not used the Copilot chat, and so on and so forth, right? So I could also flip this to see the other applications. But one thing that is very important that I must mention here is that if you go to check your own this way, you may not see the names of those users showing up for you. So how and why would you not see the name of those users? It may just be showing as encrypted or encoded messages. So if you come to org settings, I want to show you a toggle there, even as we prepare to round off the session for today. So if you come to org setting, you can toggle it off to see that the user's name should be displayed, or you want it to be in a certain format. So if I scroll down to, I think I will see reports here down here. So if I click on here now, and then if I say display concealed user group and site name in all reports, so I will just click on this. If I save this and I come back to the report here, if I come back to usage reports, and I'm picking up Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, and I come to usage, you would see that the name of those users are not going to show for me again. Their name and their username, that is their email address and the display name, is not going to show up for me again, because this time I have decided to conceal these names in this format that will not really speak exactly to who I want to, who is doing something. In the last time that we checked here, you saw that we had this user here, and we had this user here. I mean, Benga showing up for these activities. So now let's come back to settings to toggle it back on, and then we are going to export this result and look at it in the graph, I mean in the CSV form, and then we can call it a day from here. So this is how you can track your Copilot license environment. So if I come to org settings and then I come down again to reports, so if I come to reports and I remove this, so if I save this now and go back to the usage report, then what's going to happen is that I would have the the usage report showing the display name of the users and when they use the license and what they did with it. So now it is showing back the name, right? The display name as well as the user principal name. So the next point I want to show you, which is going to be like a wrap-up session for today, is the how to look at the report, how to download the report, and how to look into the CSV where it is reported. I mean, I clicked on here, and then the next thing you see was this, and then the next thing was something was downloaded here, and it's showing Copilot activity report. So I'm waiting for that to pop up, and it's on my second screen. So I'm just going to move it onto this screen now. So I'm going to maximize this, and then this is how the report looks. So I'll double click. So this is showing me that, okay, you have these users on these particular dates, 4th of December 2024, and then this user had used the Copilot license in okay for the last 30 days period under consideration or review. Then the last activity dates of business charts, and then if you look at it, it is showing that this user Labrat, this user here, Labrat, had used Copilots on this day. And if we look at the activity, I think if you look at this, okay, so this person last activity date on Teams was 27. So these users did not use, but this user, which is me, I have used Copilot in Teams. I have used Copilot in Word. If I scroll again, I've not used Copilot in Excel for the last 30 days. I have used Copilot in PowerPoint, and this is it on the 20th of November. And then considering that also I have last in Outlook, I've used it on this 4th. So this will actually give me a view of the users that used Copilot in the last 30 days. So you now look at the heavy user of Copilot here is likely me, because this is a demo environment, and I sign into Copilot every time to check if there are updates, and that's why you see this. So with this as an administrator, you can come back to advise your user, or perhaps know who is using and who is not using Copilot, to see if where trainings are required. Then you may be able to hold training for your users just to get them familiarized and make sure that you maximize what you are paying for the Copilot license. So this is what we can cover about the usage of Copilot. So just to summarize, and before we round off today, we have seen Copilot in action in terms of reporting here, and then we have also seen Copilot on how you could create pilot users for Copilot, make it a dynamic group by creating that dynamic group from the Entra Admin Center, and then coming to the M35 Admin Center to assign license to that group, not the users individually, that group. And from the group, then you are going to have the option to come to your Teams Admin Center and make sure that your transcription and your meeting recording is enabled in policies that we created. And having created those policies, then we're able to assign the policies to those groups, so that, I mean, to that group, so that the users would have experience of transcription and the AI notes can be generated. So in the admin center also, you have seen where to go for to learn about the Copilot, details about how your data is handled, how Copilot is actually practiced or in line with responsible AI, and all that has to do with data privacy. So I hope you find this session useful. I would be bringing up another one to you by next week, just so we can dive deeper into how we can, maximize the use of the cloud technologies that Microsoft has made available to us. So we're on top of the hour. It is 5 o'clock here in Nigeria. So thank you very much for following through to this end, and have a wonderful day ahead. And for those here with me, I want to say good evening to you. Have a great day. Peace.